Alright guys, we're going to be working on page 111 in our math book today. Place the fractions on the number line. I have 7 halves, 3 halves, and 5 halves. I like that they're all common denominators. Now my fractions are marked in, or my number line is marked in whole numbers, but luckily it's just half. So I need to mark the halfway point between 0 and 1. That'd be half, and this would be 2 over 2. Mark the halfway point between 1 and 2. Halfway between 2 and 3, and halfway between 3 and 4. Now I've segmented these. Now I need to find 7 over 2. All of these marks indicate a halfway point, even the whole. So this is 1 over 2, 2 over 2, 3 over 2, 4 over 2, 5 over 2, 6 over 2, and here comes 7 over 2. So 7 over 2 falls between 3 and 4 because that's really just 3 and a half. Now I have 3 halves, so here I go, 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 over 2, that falls between 1 and 2 because that's really just 1 and a half. Now I have 5 halves, 1 half, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, 5 over half. And that falls between 2 and 3 because that's really just 2 and a half. This asks me to write 7 and a half as a mixed number. So let's come over here to 7 halves. Well, 7 halves falls between 3 and 4. So it can't be 4 as my whole, it has to be 3 wholes with how much left over? 1 and a half. I could have just done that also by dividing 7 by 2. 2 goes into 7 3 times. My remainder is 1. I would write that as my numerator, and my denominator stays the same. Here we have a multiplication problem, so I'm going to want my graph paper or some other sort of graph paper. We all know I love my graph paper because it helps me line up my decimals. Not my decimals, well that too, but my place values. So I have 302 multiplied by 89. That's just really close to 300 multiplied by 90. 3 times 9 is 27, and then I'm going to add in my 3 zeros, so my estimate's going to be close to 27,000. So now that we have our estimate, we're going to go ahead and set up our problem. I have 302 multiplied by 89. 9 times 2 is 18. Don't forget to regroup that 1. 9 times 0 is 0. Add in that 1 to make 11. Make sure you cross off as you go along, and don't forget to regroup again. 9 times 3 is 27. Add in that 1 to make 28. I'm on the end of my row, so the 2 needs to come down as well. Now this 8 is not 8. It is worth 80 because it's in the tens place, so I need a placeholder 0. 8 times 2 is 16. Don't forget to regroup. 8 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. 8 times 3 is 24. Now we just add them up. I'm seeing a lot of mistakes with adding because we're not slowing down and taking our time. So our answer here is 26,978. Don't forget to write that in your book. I like to write graph paper here just so I can remember that I showed my work. Now looking at our estimate and our answer, our product, those are extremely close. 26,978 is very close to 27,000. Alright, we're going to go ahead and continue working on problem 3. Beatrice has a page of 8 math problems to complete over the weekend. She solved 3 on Saturday and 2 more on Saturday afternoon. Write a number sentence with fractions to describe how much of the page Beatrice completed. Well, to complete the page, she would have to do 8 over 8. That would be her whole. But in the beginning on Saturday, she does 3 problems, and later on Saturday she does 2 more. So write a number sentence with fractions describes how much of the page Beatrice has completed. Well, she completed 3/8 plus 2/8. That's how much she has completed, which equals 5/8. Write a fraction of the page. Now, what fraction of the page did she complete? Well, we just did that. She completed 5 out of 8. Alright, fraction of. Well, remember that of sign just means to multiply. We did talk about how it could be division as well, but half times 6 over 1, because every whole number has a 1 over it, would be 6 over 2, but that's an improper fraction. So I would have to take 6 and divide by 2 and get 3 with no remainder. So that would be 3. So we did talk about dividing that. I would think about dividing that. Let's see if that would work here instead. I have 8 and I want half of it. Well, I'm going to take 8 and divide by the denominator. 8 divided by 2 is 4 with no remainder. So my answer would be 4. If I had done half times 8, I would have gotten 8 over 2 and then had to divide anyways. Okay? So when our whole number is bigger than our denominator, it's just easier to divide. But if you can't remember that, just go ahead and multiply, that's okay. Now I'm going to take 12 and I'm dividing it by 3, which is 4, and I have nothing left over. What is 1/4 of 20? I'm going to take 20 and I'm going to divide that by 4, and I'm going to get 5 with nothing left over. Now problem number 5. Choose a fraction from problem 1 and write a division number story that has a fraction as that answer. So if I look at 3 halves, how can I make that into a division number story? Well, I can take my denominator, that's my amount of stuff with how many, hang on, I have to think about this here before I say it wrong. That's my amount of people, and my numerator is my amount of stuff. So I have, well, it's going to have to be the numerator. So whatever your numerator is what you're going to put here. I have to share with, and that's going to be that denominator. How much does each person get? So here I could plug in, if I chose 5/7, I have, 5 halves, I have 5 what? Pizzas to share with 2 people. How much does each person get? So you really got to think about just what is it you're going to share. I have, and then you're going to put your numerator, and that's going to be your stuff. So you need to put the name of the stuff. Like, it can't be stuff, but what is the stuff going to be? Bags of chips or something else. And that could work with 7 over 2. I have 7 bags of chips to share with my denominator, 2 people. How much does each person get? So make sure you're not writing what I wrote in parentheses, but instead you're plugging in the actual number. So great job staying committed to page 11. I'm just going to go ahead and pause this.